We're finally getting Duality and Shadows Light in the next Battles of Legend releasing later this month, and I think that people should maybe calm their expectations about these two cards. But first, if you want to support me and the channel, use my affiliate links in the description below, and you can also become a YouTube member to get early access to deck lists, exclusive Discord access, and much more. I was personally really expecting both of these cards. I didn't really know when they're going to be revealed or even released in the TCG, but we're getting them now, and I'm extremely happy because it gives us a chance to test out and see for ourselves if these two cards were actually going to be playable. In the OCG, these cards didn't really see play at all, but maybe some people can actually break it, and I think one of the best strategies to do that is actually Branded, a strategy that deals a lot with lights and dark monsters, and they can utilize this card or these two cards rather well. Let's start off with Duality, which is probably the better of the two. This is a quick play spell cards that says tribute one light or dark monster, special summon one light or dark monster with the same original type and level, but different attribute from your hand or extra deck. This is the first effect, and during the main phase you can banish this card from the graveyard, then target one light and one dark monster in your graveyard, shuffle both into the deck, then draw one card. So there's a lot to break down specifically in Duality here. The main thing is that it's a quick effect. It's a quick effect that can tribute as cost, which means that a lot of your monsters can actually dodge effects using this effect. You can tribute something like Aluber the Jester of Despia. This is like the first main example, but I'm sure in the comments below you're going to tell me about more of these. You can tribute the Aluber, summon a Herald of the Arclight from your extra deck because it's a level 4 fairy, but it has a conflicting attribute. Also, I think the Shuffle Back effect from the graveyard really helps with recursion, and it's drawing one card, recycling two important pieces into your deck. In terms of Branded specifically, maybe even Dragon Link, these cards are really important. Things like Chaos Space effects, you can shuffle back resources, draw cards. It's just pure advantage at that point. But there's also another example where you can actually tribute Granguignol the Dusk Dragon because it's a level 8 light spellcaster and summon Red Eyes Dark Dragoon directly from your extra deck because it has the same level and type, but it's dark and not light, which means you get a Dragoon on the field. You do not have to waste your Branded Fusion line to go in that line. You get an additional negate, and you also get Granguignol in the graveyard to activate the effect whenever it's ready. You can also do that mid-combo, and again, this really boosts the Branded strategy, but also there are a lot of caveats, so I'll read through the cards, and then once I'm finished, I'm going to talk about that. I think the main reason why these cards might not be as playable is just because they're not searchable, but let's go into Shadows Light, which is a normal spell, which we're going to talk about now. So Shadows Light is a normal spell that reads you can target one dark monster you control as cost, special summon one light monster with the same original type and level from your deck or extra deck. You can banish this card from your graveyard. During your main phase, you can normal summon one light or dark monster in addition to your normal summon, so you gain an additional summon. You can only use each effect once per turn, and you cannot conduct your battle phase the turn you activate either one of these effects. So I think this one is relatively weaker just because it's a normal spell card. You have to skip your battle phase. It's very restrictive. It goes from dark to light specifically, and it doesn't go the other way around. So one thing this card does is actually not tribute the monster. So essentially you leave the monster on the field and then you just summon an additional monsters. There's a few examples with this. First of all, the most copium of all, Mirror Jade going into Chixiao. They are actually both light and dark worm monsters, so you're not going to have a negate with Chixiao unless you get that Mirror Jade into the graveyard, but yeah, you get the point. Then you have Albion, the Branded Dragon, going into Albion, the Sanctified Dragon. This could actually be really powerful as an extender of your combo just to get an additional piece. Sometimes, usually with the Branded combo, you are actually left with the Albion on the field, so you can tribute it for Lubellion, but now you can extend even further and just summon another monster from your extra deck. And the last one, which might actually see some play, is Dramaturge of Despia going into Archlord Christia. Both are fairies level 8, Dramaturge is dark, and Christia is light. So these are the two new cards. What do I think about them? Because you're going to see a lot of videos trying to break these cards. There already have been a lot of videos. I think Dark Paladin did a lot of these on, specifically Grand Guignol into Dragoon, which seems insanely broken once you draw them. I think the problem, and maybe the reason these cards did not see any play in the OCG, barely any play, I haven't seen them in any topping list, is the fact that they're just not searchable. You want to draw these cards, you want to see these cards in your combo to achieve certain things. You want to, for example, duality to protect your monsters from being negated on the field. But again, since these cards are just 3 of non-searchable cards, it's going to be really hard to justify their existence in your deck. I think that when you're talking about very powerful non-engine tech cards, they should do 2 things. One, they should be very consistent. So you're playing a lot of non-engine to see some of it, and every card needs to be consistent and powerful on its own. So once you see it, it does something, it does some interaction with your opponent. Well, you're talking about Shadows Light and Duality, they do certain things with your monsters, but you have to have a specific setup in order to achieve them, and things like Aluber going into Herald of the Arclight doesn't really work well when you're locked into fusions with Branded Fusion. And again, the second thing is that they're not searchable. You cannot search any of these cards to your hand, which means you have to hard draw them, kind of gamble on having them in your deck. Maybe these could be really good tech cards, but overall not very consistent in your strategy. So yeah, I was extremely excited for these cards coming out. I think experimenting with these cards is definitely welcome. I think I'm definitely gonna try out these cards. I have tried them in the past, but again, you can also put them in your deck and test them out in the new format after Battles of Legend is released. And of course, if you want to pick up the set or the singles, check out my Twitter or the description below to head over to Tier 0 Games, use code GALZO5 to pick up some boxes or of course some singles. So I really want in this video to know what you guys think about this. Is this copium and not going to be played at all? Or does this actually have some viable strategy opportunities in Branded or other decks as well, like Dragon Link? Let me know in the comments below, leave a thumbs up on the video. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.